I've been like so embarrassed by the lack of American arrogance lately.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, there was a healthy arrogance.
Yes.
I remember I went and studied abroad in Spain. Okay.
Yeah.
And I might be on the higher spectrum of like arrogance sometimes.
Right.
Right.
No.
Right? Maybe a tiny, maybe just a little bit.
Not even.
Do you know what I mean? Wedding was in Montecito, not Santa Barbara, just to clarify. You know, it's fancy. You know what I mean?
How would I know?
You know.
Me
these
and my
things.
gift weren't invited.
I know. Yeah. When we renew the vows.
Okay.
I showed up wearing fucking cowboy hat. I'm from New York.
Right.
Cowboy hat, like a American flag shirt, some blue fucking Adidas pants.
Yeah.
Like and Vans. I was like screaming America. And I was
Right.
like, you're lucky I'm fucking here for a year to study abroad. And I was talking to Ronnie Chang about this the other day. He's like, yeah, like I think America's been humbled, you know, like by the news, by the experience, what's going on. And like, he goes, Americans are very like polite abroad now. Right? We go kind of apologizing before we go into places, et cetera. Now, we should be polite. I don't think that we shouldn't be polite, but I think that there's a lack of fucking confidence going on in America right now.
Yeah.
And this is where I understand why people feed, I don't want to say bullshit, but why we feed bullshit, why we feed these narratives and stories and create heroism out of things that might not be that heroic. Because low key, don't you want a more confident people? If you have to be part of something, wouldn't it be a winning story? Like, I was asking this English person the other day, they were just in the audience, and I was like, yo, do they tell you that the empire's over? Like, do they teach that at all? And they're like, no. They don't even know. There are people in England that don't even know that they don't run the world. And if you look at them and you see everyone in the world speaks English, they're probably going, yeah, we still run it.
Some of them do know. I think it really depends, right? Like, the American arrogance is alive in certain places. It's just we're on the decline right now. You can feel it. And we got to turn it around.
Yes.
We got to turn it around, but we're on the decline. You can feel it.
Have we ever been in the decline historically in this empire, the American empire, and then turned it around? Because I think my fear is, how do you turn it around? Is there any stopping China?
You could listen.
They are the robots of nations.
There's ways to turn it around, but as of right now, we are. I think, without argument, we're on a downward slope.
Okay. I'm going to push back on that. I don't think that slope is as steep as you present it.
Maybe not.
Because right now the war is culture, right? And I mean, like, we're not going to war with China. Everybody dies.
Right.
And our culture is still more influential than theirs. We're not walking around Chinese.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They are adopting American culture.
The war is economic, though. The war is more than culture. Culture is the fake war. The war is economic, and their economy is really growing at a bigger pace than ours.
Of course, more people.
Yeah.
More people, more engineers. There's a guy from where did he used to work? Raytheon or something like that came to the show in Oxnard, right? And he was just saying, like, they have superiority in terms of weapons. He goes, weapons don't matter because we can all kill each other. They can just kill us a little bit quicker.
I'm not worried about even, I think China is a problem, but I think the threats to the American project are internal.
Hold on, I want to get to that in 1 second. But what he specifically said is, here's the reason why we could potentially lose. They're just 5-1. That's 5-1 engineers. That's 5-1 like fucking dancers for TikTok. It's 5-1. So
they're also culturally promoting engineering. Like, in America, people want to be YouTubers. They want to be famous. They want to be this. They want to be that.
Sorry,
but
guys.
We don't necessarily have the math and science core and the value system that.
I mean, there's a reason why all the kids in the new Spider-Man go to MIT.
Right.
Their whole life is about, how do I get to MIT?
I think, for example,
he loses all his friends just so they can go to MIT.
Right.
It's, how do we get these fucking kids?
Here's what happens when
to
you
start learning again.
You know, I remember when Detroit like fell.
None of us remember that.
Detroit.
You don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
You don't remember that. You
I do
remember
remember
Detroit
it.
fell?
Yeah, Detroit as a city went bankrupt.
You don't remember this?
Yeah, I remember.
Where were you?
I was like in high school.
Yeah, it was Kwame Kilpatrick, right?
Yeah, it was like
the
it was
legend,
a pretty big story.
Yeah.
So,
Killed a hooker.
But then Detroit been falling. RoboCop was Detroit.
Yeah,
that should have been on fire since the 80s.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Do you see what I mean? When you let American cities just completely disintegrate,
That is wild.
and there's like 5 cities where everyone has Lamborghinis, and then the rest of them are on fire.
Yeah.
That's a problem. And what happens is your country begins to decline, whether you can see it or feel it, because you're a millionaire and all your friends are millionaires. But the reality is, if you go to these other places where people don't have jobs, they don't have health care, they're totally fucked. They don't see a way out. Their kids are on fentanyl. Their daughter's on OnlyFans. This is part of now when those people
But industry
had
changes
jobs,
certain cities,
okay,
man.
sure.
This is American history.
no.
Industry is going to change cities, is going to make certain cities more economically viable than others.
I understand that, but when you look at that working class, when they had jobs and could go on vacations, and they had money, and they weren't being completely replaced, and their jobs weren't being shipped overseas, you had a more robust country. You had a better feeling in the country.
Robust sections of the country. So those sections, Buffalo at one time, Rochester at one time were more robust.
Yeah, but
and they were wealthy.
don't you see that as a problem?
So is West Virginia.
But don't you think that's a problem?
No, I think that this just is the nature of changing an industry.
But that's where the arrogance that you're missing is going.
Miami is
it's
a
hard to
perfect
be arrogant
example
when
of
you
this.
live in a tent.
But
Yes,
if you can,
but
if
here's
you
the
can
thing.
see the rise and fall of cities, how do you not see the rise and fall of countries?
That's what I mean. Like, you don't think eventually this
Like if the rise and fall of
becomes-
cities is natural and that's evolution.
No, I understand. I understand what you're saying. I guess what I'm saying is, it's not as if a new city isn't also going to pop up. So if Rochester and Buffalo falls, another place is probably going to pop up.
But it's bigger than just specific cities. These are entire industries. We have no manufacturing in the country, right?
This is a bigger problem.
We have no manufacturing. We don't make anything here.
Yeah.
Everything. So if you're an unskilled worker and you don't have any skills, you're competing against immigrants that come in all the time. You're competing against your other, neighbors and friends. And you're competing against people that live overseas that are willing to do the jobs for cheaper. So I'm just saying, listen, I'm not an economist, but I'm just saying, when you talk about arrogance and like, where's the sense of American mojo and where did it go?
Yeah.
A lot of it is like, motherfucker, you drive 20 minutes out of any city, you're driving to a third world country. And when you drive through a third world country, when you drive through parts of Cleveland and they look like Sarajevo, when they look like Bosnia,
okay,
that's a problem.
This I agree with.
It's an issue.
No, this I agree with. I just thought you were saying like
pushback in that, I
one
don't think you-
specific city like Crumbling doesn't mean another won't pop up. And that is something
For sure.
that's naturally going to happen in the course of a country.
Yeah, but when you just have these sacrifice zones, whatever it is, no go, like you have these areas where like, and they're popping up all over the place. Then you have tent cities.
Yep.
So you're like, you talk about the American, like you're driving around, you look, you go, oh, it's
you
tents
can't
everywhere.
feel like the greatest country in the world if you're seeing extreme
It's
poverty
hard
right
to
out
see
the door.
it all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's affecting people's sense of what's going on.
And also there's probably this sense because of social media. Like, remember back in the day when you lived and existed within your neighborhood, you understood how wealthy or poor you were within the proximity of the people that live with you, right?
Yeah.
And now we're constantly faced with all these people who are doing so much better than us, even if they're not really.
Right.
They look like they are on the
That's right.
internet, right? So there's probably an ego hit that comes from that as well. You're like, oh shit, I thought I was successful. I just started making $100,000 a year. And you hop on Instagram and there's some 19-year-old that just made $2 billion on Bitcoin.
Unquestionably, there's an ego hit.
Interesting. Okay, so then,
Unquestionably.
okay, fair enough. Okay, I agree with that. You're constantly confronted with everything you're doing wrong, and we're doing a lot of self-reflection as a country, right? Which you don't see a country like China doing. Like China's not sitting back and going, "Hey, how were we bad 300 years
they're
ago?
not.
How were we bad
They're not
200
doing
years
that,
ago? And how can we be better?" Now, the concern is that we would just go, "Well, let's forget about all the fucked up things that we did in the past." We don't want to do that.
Right.
We want to know what we did. We don't want to
Right.
ignore our history.
Right.
But I'm curious about the people who are like orchestrating America for the next like 200 years as they figure out like what we learn in schools. Are they sitting there and they going, "Hey, we need to instill some heroism, man. Like we need to make people feel proud of America because right now we're making people realize all the fucking horrible shit they did.
Yeah.
And we're not comparing America as a country to other countries. We're only comparing her to herself. And that's where you start to be embarrassed.
Yeah. I think there's a real fight and there's a real tension between those two views. And I don't think it's going to be resolved anytime soon. I think there's people that believe that the job of schools is to tell children why things are the way they are, which is what I think a lot of the proponents of some of the newer critical race theory and stuff like that are doing. They're saying, here is a theory that explains why it is. And then there are people that go, that's not the job of a school. The job of a school is to give you the facts, the figures, tell you 10 theories, 10 reasons why things may be the way they are, and have you come to those conclusions on your own.
Yeah.
We don't need to force feed you that one particular theory. We need to provide. Now, there are also people on the far end of that spectrum who go, well, we want to only show the pro-America theories. We don't want to show the critical race theories. We don't want to show how incarceration might be related to
Racism.
slavery or racism or any of that. There are people that go, that theory should be banned. And then there are people who go, we should only teach that theory. And I'm in the middle that goes, teach all of the theories and let the kids who are on fentanyl anyway and aren't listening, let them figure out what theories they are going with. I don't think schools should ever go, this is the way and the only way.
I try to look at like the best case scenario for both sides, right? I look at the best case scenario for the critical race theory side, right? Not the person that's trying to sit there and be like, white people are bad, here's why. The person who's literally trying to explain to some kids, hey, this is why there might be a discrepancy of wealth and opportunity.
Absolutely.
Like when you look at your friend who doesn't have the things that you have, like now you don't have to think that, you know, he's just unlucky. Maybe there's circumstances that put him there. And then maybe you have more empathy. Like that's what I think best case scenario for the critical race theory. And I think that's great. I support that, right? And then I think best case scenario for the people who don't want to teach it, right? What if they're literally going, yo, what if we stop teaching these kids that they're different from one another? What if they'll start treating each other as if they're the same? Maybe that's best case. And maybe it's naive to think that, but maybe that's best case scenario.
You're probably right about what the best case on each side wants.
And I like your strategy about teaching both of them, but I'm like, man, it would be fucking nice if we were curating these stories that Americans could feel fucking proud of it. Give me a Top Gun movie again. Like, give me something that we're doing that's good, that we should feel proud of. Not fucking dance challenges on the internet. I'm talking about some real Americana shit. Get our fucking balls back and start walking around with our fucking heads straight up, man.
Yeah.
It's, and I wonder what you do that through. Do you do that through school? Like, do you do that through kids?
I think you do it through a mixture of a bunch of things. Policy, culture. You know, you give people...
You need like a Springsteen, bro. You need like a new Springsteen.
I don't think that works.
Like,
here's the deal. I don't think that works anymore. I don't think that works. No, I don't think it works anymore.
Why?
Well, I don't think we're a country at this point, to be honest.
Can I tell you another reason I
truly don't believe we're a country at this moment. I would say there's more. I could make a better argument. I was a debater. I could make a better argument that we're a collection of nation states or whatever than an actual country at this particular moment.
Do you want to know something? And I want to hear. I want to hear your actually, you say what you were going to say.
First of all, new media is why I don't think it works. Everything's too splintered. When it was Springsteen in the 70s, you had like 3 different options for programming, and it's all pretty easy to be the same. So pro-America, really easy to get behind. Now, if there's a pro-America guy, there's 1,000 fuck America guys singing a song on Spotify that's one playlist over. So I don't think it works as well. But let me ask you a question. Sorry to interrupt you, but based on what you just said, I have a friend who said this about Indian guy, but I think it might also apply to America. Should we just go to an EU model? Where the country is it's a continent all together, but we all kind of govern ourselves.
I don't think we should do that. But I will tell you this. The reason I would say effectively we're not that we're not a country, but effectively, you got to look at what's good for certain people is really not good for other people in this country. We've reached a point where the right for what you want to do and how you want to live is not necessarily good for me. And it used to be where we would have differences, but then we had these concentric circles that would overlap, and our interests were in the middle, and a lot of our interests lied with like, okay, they're keeping us safe from the Soviet Union or this or that or whatever. But now, you know, if you are...
The country was designed with that in mind, though. Like,
yes, but it was also designed with...
That's the states' rights idea, right? It's like,
for sure.
I live in Virginia, you live in Maine. I'm not going to...
But the idea that now one state goes, we're very pro-gun. And another state goes, we don't want guns at all.
Great.
And then you go, okay, but the problem is people are buying guns in one state and using them in another state.
So the reason why this was tricky is because back in the day, it took 6 months to get from Maine to Virginia.
That's right.
Now...
6 hours.
It's 2 hours, right?
Whatever it is.
Exactly. So now you have to have more uniform laws.
Yeah.
Because...
Now there are people that go, we want fracking. And there are people that go, I want...
your fracking is coming down our river and then causing people to die in our state where we make it illegal. We're too interconnected to have such different rules and laws. Is that what you're trying to say?
I mean, we're very interconnected, but we're also at the same time, dude, our lives aren't anywhere like my life being good and somebody else's life being good may depend on things being diametrically opposed, like different.
So I think you're developing a caste system
Yeah.
I think that's what you're kind of talking about.
Well, it's kind of happening, right?
Already.
You already have it happening.
Yeah.
Like we dismiss, knowingly or unknowingly, we dismiss the people who live in Troy because we don't work in factories. And we go, hey, things happen. Cities spring up. Move to Austin. Start a podcast. Invest in yourself. But the reality is those people want to kill us because they go, fuck you. You guys are benefiting from buying this hoodie for no money because it was made and there's always going to be some level of that tension. But it's just gotten to a point now where it does feel like it's bubbling over into something crazy.
And here's the thing. It's if you're in one of these places that's not considering Troy at all, right?
Right.
It doesn't even pop on your radar.
Right.
It's almost like how America is with the rest of the world. Like we don't consider like what Sweden does, but Sweden needs to consider what we do.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And I think we often treat cities, towns, et cetera, within America with that same, for lack of a better word, arrogance, right?
Right.
And that does become a problem, especially when those people are resenting. I was on stage the other day and I just asked the people in the crowd who the new mayor was. This is right when Adams got elected.
Right.
What percentage do you think could say the name of the mayor in their town?
Half? Not even.
10% is generous.
Wow. Man.
Now, your life is so good.
Right. Yeah, they don't care.
You can remove yourself from politics.
That's right. Totally.
Those people up in Troy,
they can't.
That politician
matters.
Is make or break.
Yeah.
People like that living in the same place, that is what you're talking about.
That's what I'm talking about. It's interesting, right? And it's not even me like having a view or how to fix it or political. No. It's just me looking at everything and going, fuck, this is a pickle.
What is the French queen, let them eat cake?
Marie Antoinette.
It's let them eat cake, bro.
It's kind of that. And then
they're struggling in Troy? Let them eat cake.
And then people get angry. And then it becomes a Capitol riot. It becomes Antifa. It becomes like violence on the street. And some of those are just rich kids LARPing. That's fine. But like what you see is it becomes opioid crisis. It becomes, I'm in despair. I don't have a future. Bro. I don't believe my life is going to be good.
And it's so funny. Even the drugs that you see people using now, like ketamine and
they're
these
not
types
even
of things.
fun.
Bro, because what are they? They're disassociation.
Yeah, they're get me
Everything is get me out of here.
Get me out
Everything is escape. It used to be like, life is fun. I want it to be even more fun.
Right.
I want to have energy for the whole night full of fun.
Right.
And now it's, I don't even want to deal with this.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with fucking whatever, white guilt. I don't want to deal with whatever these fucking things are. Ketamine, K-hole, I'm out. Don't talk to me.
I'm out, yeah.
You even see some of these fucking rich kids doing heroin again.
They're right.
When we were younger, that was like so fucking taboo.
Because they also have no purpose.
Yeah, so they're tapping out of this.
Because we've gotten rid of religion. We've gotten rid of, you don't feel, you don't have a community anymore. Everything's global. So you're on Instagram. Oh, I'm talking to somebody in Dubai. I'm talking to somebody here.
Yeah.
There's no communities that are local anymore. And electronic communities build a lot of things, but they're also very isolating.
Yeah.
And they also limit interaction to some degree. They make it a lot easier.
It's
but they
why you
limit
have so many friends online.
Right.
Because you don't have to be with them all
That's
the time.
right.